Okay, welcome everybody to the TFC Open Mic Season 3, Episode 8, VXP and TLC Frenzy. And a big hello to the folks that are here with me. We've got Brian. Hey, Brian.
Hello.
And we have Hefe.
Oops.
I was going to say,
sorry about that.
You went to get a beer already.
I was on mute. No.
We have
I was
Mark.
just muting my YouTube cats.
We also have Mark.
Jumbo, my friends.
And we've got Peter.
Gentlemen.
And we have Ren.
Hello.
Hey, Ren. And Rum.
Hello, everyone.
Hey. Okay, so just a quick recap of the new stuff that we had this week. First off, we've got the brand new 117 FM target that came out worth 500k points. My understanding was that they reduced the damage a little bit originally to allow folks to use icebreakers. And these obviously will be changed, and I'm sure the damage will be increased once everybody has their Dragonfires done. Also, we have the VXP weekend going on right now. The 100 targets are out until 9 p.m. PST tonight, and then the rest of the unidentified raiders and the 55s will be out through the rest of the weekend. We also had the Skirmish target transition. We've got new uranium targets that are out on the map. These will be the Scourge blockade targets, and they'll be side by side with the Reaver Armada for 2 weeks. And then the last day for those targets will be March the 6th, and then we'll be switched over to where we only have the new targets. They're also rerunning the Titans Unleashed campaign. So for those of you that did not get the new engine, the jet engine module, you'll be able to go ahead and repeat that and get that. And they're also repeating the March to War. This is the Eviscerator campaign. But in addition to that, obviously, we also have the kinetic motion cannon, the new Omega weapon, and we also have a bunch of tokens that are available. And then last but not least, we've got the Zoe's Legion HQ campaign. This is the co-op one that allows the players to go ahead and get all of the charged armors that are offered. So that's kind of what we had this week. I guess first off, how's VXP going for everybody?
Meh. I think it's even slower than the previous month. I've gotten 4 hits on my boon. It's at 70. I might not skull it with a 5th, but if it's at 73 or 74, I guess I don't care so much. The real thing is with the Inferno Dragons, you need 6 hits on 100 with triple salty, as I understand it. And that's, 54 something hours of repair. So you need a lot of grease monkeys and not a lot of sleep, or you just can't do it. And these are things that are supposed to be necessary for the FM coming up soon. And I don't think we'll ever have a proper garrison VXP target like we did the year before, because they'd always be something involving the raid. This month's targets are last year's raid targets, but most of the months prior it was the current raid target or a preview of the next one. But with garrison out of the raid cycle, we're not going to find one where our garrison ships are suited to rank. So that's going to be a potential problem coming up.
Okay, Hefe, how's your VXP going? Oh, Mark?
I'm just having a look actually, to be honest, because a certain brother of mine's in chat, and it looks like it's going all right. Yeah, so 4 ships. What are we on? Let's have a look. Veteran 3. Yeah, not doing too bad, to be honest. So getting there. I've got another 2 hours and a bit to fix, and then we've got a chance for 2 more hits, I think. So that should about do it. 2 or 3 maybe more hits. I know. Hefe was saying a little bit about, is it 13k per ship with a triple salty, roughly?
Yeah, 12.99 something. So yeah,
12.9.
Close enough.
Yeah.
So yeah, not doing too bad. Yeah, like I say, veteran 3 at the moment, so getting there. And if I don't quite make it this time, then at least I can put a, I'll put a Zealous in with them and just finish them off on the sea if I have to. But yeah, so about 73% I think we're going to get to. So I've been told.
That's not too bad.
I'm playing catch up this week, so like I say, I've only been home about an hour, so I've been away. But, yeah, looking good so far. Got the FN to do still. But.
Well, we're glad to see you back safe and sound.
Woohoo!
Peter, what are you ranking this weekend?
Mostly been noodling with the 3 dragon shells I have built. Got them up to I think it's like specialist 2, maybe specialist 3. Now I'm working on refitting them.
Nice. Ren, how are you doing?
Not bad. I used the triple salty I had yesterday. I only had one. Got the Inferno Dragons to 41%, I think, and then repaired the slow way. Hit again today. Got that with a normal salty. Got them to 54, I think. Hopefully I'll get to hit it again before midnight my time when the 100s go away. And that's it. I mean, I'm not spending on VXP because, you know, like 12 hours repair per fleet is not something I enjoy and not something that gives me fun. So it's not something that's worth money. But getting there. No need to. I finally sculled my Skyfires. A little bit late.
Oh, good for you. Yeah, I finished 2 of them off today myself. Thankfully, it was only 1 hit. And Rum, what are you ranking?
I ranked up my dragons and my boon. And the dragons were rather simple, as everybody's already said. The boon was a pain in the backside. Took a lot of work. You know, most people that had them built for the raid, and didn't. You know, I didn't get a chance to get it out by the last VXP weekend, so it had full armor and everything on there, and it took forever. It was not the best thing that I've ever done.
Ouch. Now I ranked the Hydra flag and 4 of the new dragons. Of course, all of them were knackered, so I was doing the suicide thing, and I did coin some repairs, and I think I did like 3 or 4 hits and like 250,000. So I was able to go ahead and get those taken care of. So happy with that. But yeah, the cost on the repairs for these fleets is just really creeping up there, and not something that I enjoy doing.
For something that is so mandatory, in order to have the best fleet that you can, it's too much expense involved, whether it's time or coin. Either way, it's just too much.
And it doesn't really allow you to participate in the TLCs or anything that's ongoing at that point because you're repairing the entire time.
Sure.
Yeah. The only TLC I actually did yesterday was the Mega Hull because it was the only thing that repairs in a separate queue.
Yeah. Cuddle just made a good point. He spent more on VXP than he did on the raid, and I'd believe that.
Yeah, see, that's yeah.
And that's why I don't spend on VXP.
Yeah. And just to kind of, if we can, morph into spending and the cost thereof of the Zoes HQ co-op. From now, Ren, you did a video on this. What are your thoughts on this? Because from what I'm hearing, it's been pretty brutal.
Me?
Did you do the Zoes charged armor co-op?
Oh, I didn't touch that. It's crazy hard.
Oh, okay. Then it was somebody else. I apologize, but yeah,
I know of people who are completing it, but the cost of any mistakes, it's insane. I mean, you make one mistake, a turret shuts your Buccaneers, which can do the raid pretty well, and one shot from the wrong turret can kill your entire fleet.
Yeah, the thing that kind of is, from my perspective, frustrating about this is that most of the folks that have got the full skulled Buck or the full skulled Hydra were able to go ahead and get the charged armor in the raid and are usually able to keep up with the charged armor. And so my initial thought when this was pulled was that it was going to be adjusted somewhat kind of like the Bucky one, where it was a chance for the folks that didn't have the charged armor to actually be able to go out and get it. And from what I'm hearing and from what I'm seeing, that is simply not the case. So I'm not sure what the thought process is behind this one.
Yeah, me neither. Other than like, let's get coins out of the suckers, I really don't understand that process behind that one.
Yeah, but the crazy part about it is, being a co-op, the people that need the charged armors can't do these. Most of the people that you would consider the top high-end coiners are
able to do it, but it's not something they enjoy, and it's not something they need.
Oh yeah, very good point. Like I don't need more charged armor, so that's why I'm not touching it.
Well, the ultimate prize is a skin for a Buccaneer. I mean,
Yeah,
really?
and that only interests Americans, right?
Exactly. But I mean, really.
What really infuriated me was that the people who this is targeted at are people who don't have all the charged armors.
Exactly.
Those who have enough charged armors to do it and the ships to do it are not the ones that need to do it. And that's a key problem. And for someone to come in and help someone who doesn't have the ships to do it, it's next to impossible. And I've tried, and I timed out doing it with people who don't have the ships, and they can't progress because they're locked out of it.
Yeah. So it's a false offering in the end, like you said, because people who need can get it, people who can get it don't need it, and it's costly, so they won't do it.
Yeah, I think if they took the stance kind of what they did with the Bucky one, where somebody that did have the fleets had the ability to go ahead and help somebody that needed the buck and the tokens and help them, I think that works a lot better than, as you said, locking everybody out, because it just I'm scratching my head trying to think out why in the world would somebody that has all the charged armor waste all the repair time to do this. And obviously the point of co-op is to help people, and so to me it's to help somebody get something that they don't have, and it doesn't work. Okay.
I think
Just another bad implementation is all it is.
I really think it's all about the skin.
Yeah, I think they could have just sold that skin in the shop and they'd have made more money. They'd have reached so many more people because
probably.
Yeah, everyone's just posting, oh, what do I need? What do I do? How do I do this? And the truth is, 2 players need very top end, very specific fleets. You need voice comms, and that's not available in the game, which is another issue that I have with it, but that's not too bad. It just seems so poor and poorly implemented. I don't know who it's for. It's just bad. They should have just sold the skin.
Well, hopefully they'll sit back and revisit it before they re-release it again. Has anybody here hit the new 117s?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I'm deeply disappointed.
Are you
In what sense?
Hitting them with the new fleet, or are you hitting them with the current fleet?
I hit them with the icebreakers, and they were able to do it, but they took quite a lot of damage. So I thought to myself, it says that I should have the Inferno Dragon for this. So I scrapped them all for the armor, and I coined a full fleet. So I've got 4 of them awaiting the flagship. Yeah, with rank, I get 8 hours damage, which is more than what I had for the icebreakers.
How many hours?
8.
Well,
and that's with 4 of the dragons.
Yeah, that's 4 fully armored. I'm missing 1 special because I'm still working out if I want to add extra wall damage, which is highly likely because them walls are just stupid. But with 4 that are practically nearly done and they're almost fully ranked, they take 8 hours damage.
Now it's interesting because then you think this is the target tuned down, right? And you're taking 8 hours. So unless there's something missing there that would allow you to improve with practice or with the last special or whatever, so you can bring it down to a reasonable amount, when they tune the target up to their intended damage level, your fleet won't survive to the end.
Exactly.
Yeah, I've tried multiple different routes. You cannot go internal until you've got practically all of the outside done, or else you're just going to melt. So the only thing you can really do is just go around outside, outrange the little ships, so you don't get hit by the mass in the middle. But even then, you're still taking huge damage, and when they ramp that up, unless this flagship gives insane boosts,
well,
you can't up that
now,
damage.
Did you try running them with a Savage Kodiak in the corner?
No.
Okay.
I've seen someone run it with a Savage Kodiak. I've also seen someone suggest that there will be a healing mechanism on the flagship, if there's one that appears, that will kind of make it react like the Skyfires did.
And the Buccaneers. That's cool.
Yeah. I have nothing to back that up other than someone's speculation.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything in that sense, to be honest. So
Yeah.
it's the first time I'm hearing about it.
The only thing that they were saying is it's the only thing that makes the level of damage right now possibly acceptable later is if you got a boat that'll reduce it down to a quarter. I think possibly it could have some relevance in that they're seeing how we're going to handle it, what we're going to do with 4 fleets, and then tune it to the point to where they always take a quarter damage. Because they've also...
the problem...
Go ahead, Brian.
Sorry.
Go ahead. No.
I think the problem with getting all this data right now is this blueprint's been out for what, 8 days? Our ships aren't even sculled, and we still have to build these unless you're a potentially filthy coiner. Like, it's going to take us a month and a half, and then there's going to be a flagship, so that's 2 whole months.
Yep.
Like, when is this change going to happen, and is it even going to be possible sinking all your time in to just IDs to get it done?
Well,
and even then, like, I still have my boon to build and escalation to put on and a whole nother fleet to finish up in the form of the Hydras. Like,
aren't we
what
back
do they
to
want?
the same situation that we were, to where the garrisons are going to be every 3 months instead of every 4?
No, every 4, I think.
Not every 4.
When is the first change? I can't remember. Is it March or April?
No. What do you mean? The first change is now.
Well, it's supposed to be the end of April, I think, is when they go full
for
hog.
FM? So sorry, for FM or for raid?
Well,
For
when they
FM.
drop the 115s and the 111s and the 103s.
I don't know that they're going to drop anything. I just know that the first change is now. They said they're going to do it in April. They decided to push it now to this month. So the first change that just happened.
It was my understanding that the old targets were going to go away at some point.
No,
Otherwise, why make a change?
They said their plan was to kind of do a rotation where new top targets introduced along with a new ship, and then the other targets are at most tweaked, but they stay there. So but they rotate down. You know what I mean?
So I think what I'm hearing you say, Ren, is that the 117 is on the map now, will stay on the map, but at some point we're going to see a reduction in points on the other targets?
That's where I don't know which way they're going to make the change, because they can either reduce the point payout on the 115s, which was kind of implied in GDR's post, saying we're not going to change the payout how did he say, immediately, or something like that.
Yeah.
So there was an opening there saying, yeah, in the future we will. So they can reduce the payout on the other targets, or they can increase the prices of the prizes, right? Today, T5 is usually 1.2, 1.3 million points. They could bump that up to 2 million points. So now either you grind 115s and 111s, or you got to hit the new top target that pays more. Or they're going to make the new target pay 300 and bump the 115 down to 150 and so on, right? But there's no plan, as far as I know, they have no plan to change all the targets a few times a year. They'll just keep introducing new targets at the top.
Well, they've never left old targets on the map forever anyway. Why would they leave these out there to clutter the map?
To keep the lower level guys who are going, like getting icebreakers now and whatnot, so those fleets keep working. And think about it, it's cheaper for them. They have the targets already on the map, already tuned. They just make them pay less.
Yeah, why build new ones?
Build 1 new target instead of 6 new targets. Because before they would build the 6, 7 new targets for a full raid cycle, where they make money off of that. Now they don't. There's no garrison raid cycle, so it's a lot cheaper for them to just keep introducing 1 top target. Okay, 117 tuned to the Ice Inferno Dragon. In 4 months, they release, let's say, a mortar ship, and now the 120 target's going to be tuned to that mortar ship, so rocket ships can't do it. You know what I mean? Just keep introducing stuff at the top.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I thought one of the points, though, in releasing these hulls was that each would be viable for a year. Now, I guess technically that doesn't mean viable at the very, very top target, but we're already seeing an increase in the points in the FM prizes this month. And if I may foreshadow a bit, I hate all of them. Like the UAV frame isn't worth 450,000, and the other ones are increasing in price even more. But you can't cite the 117 being a higher total point total as being the reason for that, because they're based on a ship that we just got. It feels like they're raising points to make the higher targets viable, and sure, that's sort of fair, maybe not yet, but it just seems like we really will have to build 3 garrison fleets every year if they do not make it so that every single fleet is always viable.
Yeah, but you know what? I think whenever they release, let's say the not the Inferno Dragons now, let's say 4 months down the road, they introduce a new FM ship. I think unless they screw something else up, but with the direction that GDR just posted, it should not be a problem, because then he's saying for the assault raid cycle, we're only going to have 1 ship, right? Not 2 fleets, 1 fleet.
Yep.
So now when you think we're going to have 1 fleet for the raid, and I don't know whether or not we're going to have escalation weapons. I don't think so. But then we have that 1 fleet, and then we have the FM fleet. That all of a sudden, I don't think it's going to be a problem. Like I said, unless they screw something else up, like making the build time for each new ship 25 days instead of the current 17.
I've gone into GD's post where it says Garrison and Forsaken Mission 2018. And just the line, and I guess it depends how you're going to interpret it, says looking towards the garrison target themselves, old targets are not going to disappear immediately, which leads me to believe that they will disappear. But there is no time frame. But that's,
the 111s were only supposed to be around for a couple of weeks, right?
No, that was the initial intent, but I asked Rampage about that. I think was in a forum post or something. And he said that they now had no plans to retire the 111s. They were just part of the normal rotation, like, period. And then, the response from him came like back in December, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, Haffel just brought a point up in chat. What about the CICs to rejuvenate the fleet as opposed to a new fleet?
Are you talking about on the FM?
Yes.
Yeah, that in that same post they mentioned they did not intend to have CICs for the garrison fleets.
Correct.
Yeah, it's quite a departure from the winter state of the game, because they were talking about hybrid fleets at that point as well, and that wasn't really gotten any detail in Rakin's most recent post. But in the winter state of the game, they were talking about hybrid fleets, and that's made me really wonder if we were supposed to build 4 or 5 of the dragons based on that post, but there's no real reference to that in GD Rakin's most recent post.
No, I would expect that there's going to be some sort of flag for it. I mean, it doesn't make sense not to.
Right. Well, that's why I didn't build the 5th one, but at this point, the 5th one may be needed.
Right. I just did a 115 with the same fleet, and you can do about 7 115s to 1 117
with the dragon.
Yeah. So it's certainly more advantageous to do the 115s.
Yeah, I took 1 hour 6 minutes damage with hitting a 115 compared to 8 hours on a 117, and you get 300,000 points, so only 200,000 points less. So,
speaking of the target, the 117, it's one of the more enjoyable targets that I've been through trying to figure it out, but it's a pain in the butt as far as the expense goes. I've got 4 of them, and nothing is totally built. Some of you guys that have watched the other show have seen the travails that we went through last night, but it's a cool fleet, or cool target.
The 117?
Yeah.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me, you're going to laugh, but to a much bigger scale, of course, reminds me of the very old FM65 target that we used to do with DNX and MCX.
Yeah, and specs.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of that target.
Yeah, I think it does too.
Yeah, well, I am glad that they have put them out on the map, and I am glad, although apparently it may not be as good as it was initially, that with the reduction of the damage, it allows players to actually go in there and take a look. But as stated, it's a little bit concerning about how far we're going to go forward with respects to damage when they finalize these things, and when is that going to take place? Is that going to be where people have had a chance to build the full fleet, or is that going to happen a little bit earlier?
Yeah, well, be careful how you say reduction in damage, because I don't see a damn thing's been reduced. They're still very, very potent. And the fleets may not have full builds on them, but mine are fully ranked, and they will still take 4 to 6 hours damage. Now, if you drive like you got HDAD and you're on Ritalin, maybe you can handle it with no damage. Or not no damage, with reduced damage. But it's hard to get in there and not make even just the tiniest mistake and take a ton of damage.
Yeah, this game never lags, by the way. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
It's your computer, Brian.
Oh, yeah, right.
Did you forget that already?
I'm sorry, my, HP Alienware, what's it? No.
I'm not sure if that is showing on the screen, but Venom is doing the 117 with the dragons.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mark or you did. I don't know. Somebody locked on his screen.
Yeah.
So, a question on my part, and it's probably something somebody knows. Why the elliptical shape of the dragon's breath?
Very good question.
It's to do with the perspective of where you're looking.
But it doesn't follow the perspective of the other circles.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't follow the other one of the damage ring or the
countermeasure. You're right.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It's fatter on the sides and narrower on the top. That's weird.
It's the Eye of Sauron.
Yeah, that's it. Somebody put a stick in it.
Now, are there things in there that you can't shoot down? Venom?
Yes.
Yes, there's one of the
executioners, right?
Fires this little green shot. I'll see if I can get one of fire here in a second.
It's a duality or a coaxial of sorts, but not in an anti mode, but in an attack mode.
Yeah, it's rather annoying.
Yes, it is, because you cannot counter it.
It feels like it's...
Here it comes now. See?
Yeah, see the little green shots. It feels like it's doing damage pass-through, as in it's just completely ignoring the charged armor, and dealing quite a lot of damage.
And it's splash damage more than splash or explosion, or both.
Probably both.
I mean, pretty much all explosion is splash, but my tinfoil hat is still squarely in the charged armor CM2 camp. The upgrade to CM1.
Now, if you guys notice, right? I mean, his health bar is already down to just barely at 50% now. Just took a chunk off.
It's when you get to the center, it starts really hurting. The morts you can't really do much about.
No, you got to keep moving at all times. You cannot stop. If you stop, you're going to definitely take more, which makes it hard to kite the ECM or the destroyer. It's actually just a destroyer.
This is where the pain comes from the missiles.
This is where you're forced to stop and hit the missile ships, or you will take a huge amount of damage.
Well, see, now I haven't.
Can't really stop much either because the mortars.
The mortars come fast.
I haven't noticed the mastodons causing that much pain.
Oh, they can cause a lot of pain.
Well, I know they can, but I haven't noticed them causing that much pain on my attempts.
No, I've seen people running 3 charged armor and 2X, but at the end of that, I was out of charged armor for the explosive, and I have 3 of them on.
I'm glad the target's tuned down.
Yeah,
right.
That one was a little bit better, 7.5 hours.
Yeah, that's still a lot of damage. I guess even if you do have a healing, you're still. It looks like we're going to be in a situation where we're going to have to deal with some damage.
Oh, there's no question with that little duality feature of the whatever it is, you cannot counter it at all. You cannot mitigate it in any way. There's nothing. It just goes straight to damage. It's kind of like the old plasma.
Yeah, good old plasma damage.
So how many of
Everybody
these
loved it, right?
How many of these are we going to have to hit?
Oh, fortunately, not as many. I mean, you know, the new targets or new prizes were 1.4 million. 3 of them is 1.5, and then if you got to hit to get your tokens.
So I think for one FM run, you need about 4 million points. Isn't that right? I think it's 1.2 for a chest. Yeah, about 4 million points, give or take. If you only take one prize from T5 and the chest, not all prizes.
If they keep the resistors in there, if they add those back in as a way to get more, it's only 750,000 in order to qualify for the big chest, unless they reevaluate the price.
I'm thinking they're going to increase the prices more as the new targets come in, or hopefully what they'll do is they'll keep the 117 once it's fully tuned however they want it to be, and they expect us to have full fleets done. That's a reasonable time frame to do so. Emphasis on the latter. Hopefully they'll keep the top target at 300,000, and they'll keep, about the same point structure as it is now. The 115 drops to 150. The 111 becomes 80,000, and so on and so forth.
Well, no, they said they would not drop the awards off of the targets. So the 115s should be 300,000 for as long as they're on the map.
Oh, great.
You know what? All I know is that I really miss those times back in August 2017 when I could do my whole FM in about an hour.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say.
All of us do.
Math.
Since October, it's all a truckload of bullshit what they've been doing with FM. Just making it harder, making it more complicated, more expensive. I hate every change since October, except for the fact lower level players don't need to go through the ladder of 20 prizes to get to the token. That's the only thing they did right since they started changing FM.
I agree completely.
Yep. Just number wise, for me at the current state, to get the crate with the 3 to 9 day tokens plus the 1.4 million prize, it would cost 100 coin.
Why don't you just say the 3-day tokens instead of the 3 to 9? Maybe one person a week gets the 7 and 2 bonus.
I never got anything other than 2+1. Never.
That's why I was saying keep it at 3, because I'm the same way. I take that back. I did get a 2 and 2 one time.
I never, not even that. So all I know is since they changed again, I've been getting less tokens from FM than I used to get before.
You know what? Me personally, for my part of the game, I'm tired of the RNG. I think that's the worst thing that they've ever done for Battle Pirates, period.
Yeah. It's horrible.
I think all players put the same effort in. All players deserve the same reward.
If it's something silly like a daily campaign, the river slips my base and die, like they want to do RNG on that, like a different amount, I don't care. But important stuff, please don't.
Yeah, and it's a huge disparity too. I mean, you'll get one player that gets 5 days of tokens, and somebody else that ends up getting, 18 days in a campaign. And when it's for something as critical as a ship that you need in the raid, losing a week can actually make or break your raid.
Huge.
And I feel like, and even in the raid itself, I felt like a lot of the damage that you took was, did your phalanx shoot that missile down? How many rockets did you shoot? Where did the rockets land? How many fire pools are you in? And the difference was triple the damage or an hour, raw in raid time, half repair. Like, when you have this many random elements in the game and the same skill can't apply to the same players to get the same rewards, even within the monthly event and the most important item in the most important resource in the game, shipbuilding time, like, stop calling yourself a strategy game. You are lying, and you are not fooling anyone that can do, math.
Well, it's a game of chance at that point. I mean, that's all it is.
It is a game of chance. It's like, no, poker was technically classified as a game of skill because there are chance elements, but skill does win out more frequently. But with here, that seems to be the case.
Let's go back to the raid we just finished last week. George had noticed that not all fire pools reacted the same. So it seems like they've inserted another RNG in there to whether if you catch this fire pool as it expires, you're going to take X percentage more damage.
And, and there was the random deaths in the 80s that nobody could see. Like, the invisible blunderbuss that fired after it's dead and killed your ships, as far as I can tell.
But that I know is not intended. I mean, it's a bug. It has to be fixed. But at least that one, I know it's not intended.
What about the fire?
I understand, but I don't care. You just gave me 5 more hours to repair because not my problem. You screwed up.
I don't get that extra bonus back. I don't get the extra tokens to repair the fleet. I send you a ticket. What are they going to send?
It's interesting because I saw the reports of that, and I never lost my fleet once throughout the whole raid. I mean,
I didn't lose
something. I didn't get massive damage swings. I mean, I was consistently within 10 or 15 minutes on the S targets. I didn't get the massive swings that were there.
I didn't lose the fleet, but I do notice that whenever I was driving around the right-hand side of the target on the new boat, on the Hydra, that you go up around the top side, that one turret seemed to have, not always, but seemed to have the ability to do twice the damage as the rest of the boats. So when you notice this and you're more careful with it and you still start taking the damage, you got to kind of say, wait, what is it?
See, now that's interesting because I autoed my whole raid. I did not drive a single target.
You autoed with the Hydras?
No, not with the Hydras, with the Buckies. I'm talking about the Buckies.
I was with the Buckies, and I started autoing 90% of it and just stopping at one point. I think it was the last turret cluster, waiting for the blue shot to be charged and then hitting it with a blue shot, because for some unknown reason, one of the turrets would randomly do a huge amount of damage. And it happened to me 2 or 3 times, and at that point I just said, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. And as soon as I started killing it with the blue shot, all the problems disappeared.
Which brings me to another question. Why are we now... Okay, twofold. Most of the weapons have a waiting phase, including the new dragons, to where you pull over the side, you let something charge, you go kill it, and then you pull back and wait. It's like they're making us spend more time in the targets doing nothing. And with the charged armors, you have to retreat multiple times so that you're actually still in the target for a longer period of time.
Where did you have to retreat? During raid?
Yeah, during the raid, whatever. You even need to retreat during this target if you want to do it effectively.
I wasn't, but okay.
No,
just
George was talking about it all the time.
Oh, George talks about things all the time. Yeah, it's okay.
You're right.
That's what he does.
I didn't retreat. I mean, my Hydras weren't finished. I made the mistake of trying one Hydra and didn't repeat that one. But, with my Buckies, I autoed the whole thing. Never retreated. Never did anything. I wasn't prepping, so I wasn't needing to drive or leave things. But I was pretty consistent throughout.
I guess I'm relating everything to the Hydra because I didn't have to retreat with the Buckies. I put the Buckies in on auto as well. But the skill hole, where's the skill in having to retreat? The skill is in not taking the damage, which you can't do.
I don't know. I don't have a full Hydra fleet.
I do.
I was happy that with my 4 half-built Hydras and 4 to 6 pinches, I was actually able to complete the elite Hydra target 6 times. Felt like a challenge to me, and I was happy, was able to get it done. I mean, at some point I did so well that I was able to do 2 of them before docking. Right. But again, I mean, tons of pinch rockets and just 4 half-built Hydras. And
yeah, but again, you can only build so many of those pinches, and you got to take time, and it's only 13 minutes. But that's still 13 minutes. You got to wait on that to come out.
And that's why I only did 6 or 7, right? Because I would build a batch of them so I could go in.
Yeah, I did 25 of the Bucky targets and 25 of the Hydra targets, and I autoed almost all of the Bucky targets, but the Hydras were in, out, in, out. I mean, just all the way through.
Yeah, no, I didn't. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if it's because of the pinches, but I was able, like, I retreated, of course, every time after a pinch rocket. And so I didn't see the problem you're saying. So maybe when I have the full fleet for next month, hoping I do. Because now I don't know if I'm going to prioritize finishing the Hydra or finishing the Inferno Dragon. Really, I don't know.
Bram, were you using a full Hydra fleet?
Full Hydra fleet. Full
what CICs are you using, mate?
Full built. I've got the Mercy on the blood, and then the capacitor on the other 4.
So you got the range extender on 4, and then the Mercy with the boost. I did the exact same thing with all mine. I did 25 targets on average between 12 minutes and 16 minutes per target. Never retreated once.
But just could be the build.
It could be the build, I don't know. But I didn't have to retreat at all in any of the targets. I did 25 straight out. And then I was just autoing the buckies in between, not even looking at them, just doing them. I did my raid in 2-3 hour sittings.
Renato, you brought up an interesting point as far as where to put your current build effort between the Dragons and the Hydras or the Bucks, whatever your secondary raid fleet is. What is your thought? Yeah. What is your thought?
I don't know. I'm thinking, because until I start feeling the FM pain, so to speak, until they change something, I'm inclined to finish my Hydras. Just because, and I don't know what they're going to do with the set bonus next month, if it's going to stay at $4 million or come down. 4 million points, I mean. But, you know, like you get 3.5 million per target, and then there's a 4 million bonus. So that means it could significantly cut down my seat time, right? Assuming I need about the same amount of points. So I'm inclined to finish the Hydras. But, you know, on the other hand, what kills you is not knowing, right? Because what if they run the TLC again, where you can get a whole bunch of Hydra tokens, and then I should be building Inferno Dragons?
Well, and then speaking of TLCs, you know, they stated we're only going to have one raid hull now. Are we going to see TLCs after this raid cycle where we will need both, or are they looking to where it will be a TLC where you could use either one or the other? Because if I can get out of, you know, building a second fleet for TLCs, I'm all for it.
Well,
the only way that's going to work is if you use the set target.
We only know one thing for a fact. We know on his post, Raken wrote, since we're only going to have one raid hull, don't expect to see a TLC a couple weeks before the raid where you can win a hull. It's only going to be, so in the April raid, you're going to see the early offer of the next hull for the next cycle. And then that's it, no TLC.
No, I understand that, meaning other TLCs. So like, for example, a lot of the, you know, TLCs that we see are assault for various things. You know, are we going where you have to use both the Skyfire and the Phoenix? You know, are we going to see that type of scenario where whatever the prize is requires both sets of fleets after this one?
We don't know. We don't know.
Hefe, in part answer to your question on that, you know how badly I hate to do the 103s. I took my Hydras in the 103s, made a mistake, and it was 5 minutes and 13 seconds damage. So yeah, I would build the Hydra for base parts. My God, it was almost enjoyable.
Well, I drive my buckies on the 103s like I stole them, and like they take minimum damage.
I still use my Cannoneers.
I've told my alliance not to build any more siege, and we'll get them through the next raid as a collective.
But what about with the time-limited campaigns that are going to come up, or
we'll take the risk?
Yeah,
not having them getting behind on the FM. No way.
Yeah, because the other thing I'm afraid of is when and if is a TLC going to come out that's going to require the Dragons?
Well, I heard you say something about get behind on the FM. You don't have to get behind on the FM if you still got your mono and your Zelos. The 115s are going to be around for a little while.
For a little while, yeah. Okay. But then 2 months' time, we're going to be into the new raid format. Yeah. So
all I'm saying, you don't have to.
Risk. It's a risk, isn't it, all of it?
Yeah, with finishing the fleet plus the Dragon and then the next raid's fleet. Then,
well, but the Dragon is a short It's a short build. I mean, it's 2 days.
No.
Yeah,
Fully
no.
loaded.
Finish the
On the
whole
whole.
thing. It's not short.
On
Seven-
the whole.
17 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
17 days fully loaded.
Same as the rest.
Yeah.
My-
Now, you
my-
know what pisses me off, just going on a tangent now. They keep talking about the Canadian and the Generalist and whatnot, and offer now escalation weapons for the Chameleon just to clog FM.
Yep.
But since the Empyreans and the Zealous were so effective in their garrison raid, next cycle we saw the Assault, they proactively sabotaged Generalists in any way they could, right? Either by having builds, making them weak, or by preventing them from joining targets, or simply by not offering any tokens for Generalists, right? Overall. So does anyone here think it's a good idea to build Generalists?
No.
I have been telling my folks not to.
Not anymore.
Well, they
Yeah,
seem
they-
to
they
be
only-
interested in doing the expedition, nothing else, don't they, for the Generalist?
Yeah, I mean, they can do the
Yeah, which is
TLCs. I
ridiculous.
mean, they absolutely cannot do any of the TLCs, or the specialist hosts can sometimes.
Partly.
So the Generalists seem to be like a very, very, very useless thing right now, because Kixeye made them useless, because they were really good back in the garrison raid.
But it's supposed to be an ASET fleet, isn't it? That's the idea. It's not supposed to be a top level.
They
Oh,
keep
but then they
banning-
can do ASAS, but they can't do TLCs. They can't do. There's no tokens for them. There's no tokens in FM, in raid, anywhere for them. There's no incentive at all to build them. And I put a Chameleon build together on the page the other day, and it's also a 17-day long build.
Mhm.
It's crazy. If
Yeah,
it's
There
gonna
is
be
one
just
less token.
if it's just going to be a hole to do ASATs without possibilities for TLCs, and should be like an 8-day build loaded, you know?
The thing I didn't like was when they started doing 100% bypasses and that sort of stuff on certain things. You can't use anything. I was
Yeah.
like that. Ridiculous. That's not a Generalist. A Generalist should be able to go and hit anything.
Exactly.
They've said it's a siege only. Well, there ain't a freaking Generalist, is it then? So it's just a third hull type to build, which can't do S targets. So it's a freaking waste of time.
Can't do S targets. It would jam weapons if you took the Zealous into the A's. Like they're actively trying to sabotage something that they had once touted so highly.
Well, is
Wait,
it
They're not trying
Generalist?
to
Is it
they're not trying
seven?
to sabotage Generalists. They're trying to sabotage the Zelos because they don't know how to deal with the duality countermeasure.
Yeah, they also sabotage the Empyreans. I mean, again, they prevented the whole Generalist class from even trying elite targets. They prevented, in the assault raid, they put buildings in the top targets that made the Generalists overall weak. So they've been sabotaging all Generalists since July.
Which
last
is
year.
really sad because, if you've got someone that's returning to the game or someone that's coming up, the ability to build a Generalist fleet that you could use in multiple locations to kind of get you by until you could get the bigger ones, I thought was a good idea. But unfortunately, that's not the case. Mark, you had something to say?
Yeah, I was just saying. I mean, I'm not sure which the Chameleon thing is. Is it a tier 6.5? It's not a tier 7, is it?
It's 7. The Chameleon's tier 7.
It's a 7, is it? Okay. So, but the fact is they've locked out, obviously, I mean, I don't know if they've locked the Chameleon out, but they've definitely locked, obviously, the Hydra out of the Bucky one, the Bucky one out of the Hydra. Did they lock out the Generalist as well?
Yep.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
They did. So what is the aim? If a TLC, whichever one it is, unless it's an ASET target for the future TLCs, and they just have to do more of them, I don't see where the Chameleon's going to go.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I mean, the Generalists being the fleet for the folks in the middle, conceptually, they execute poorly, terribly on that concept, because if it's something for the mid-level, low-level, A, should be a fast build time. B, tokens for Generalists should be offered, just as many as they offer for the Bucky or the Hydra or even Ironclads they were doing. Just like they were selling fully built fleets of Hydras or whatever the other day, they should just sell fleets of Chameleons then, if that's the case. Instead, they make it hard. I'll give an example. When was the last time the Ragnarok heavy mortar for the Empyrean was offered?
Yeah.
It's been a long time.
I don't think it has been offered ever since the raid cycle.
Well, that's
Nope,
because
not that
Imperium
I've
is practically useless now.
But the thing is, without the Ragnarok mortar, Imperiums are a piece of crap.
With the Ragnarok mortar, they're still a piece of crap.
No, I can do 115s with them.
They
Well,
were 115s, they were fine.
If you look at my screen, this is what I think of them.
Okay, good for you. I'm just saying they should be an option for
Okay.
mid-level players,
On-
and they
on
are
my-
not.
Yeah, on my auto account, the Imperiums have been doing 115s about a month after 115s came out, and they look perfect.
Yeah, you can.
They got
I'm
people-
gonna recycle mine now because I will need the charged armor for the Inferno Dragon, so I will recycle my Imperiums. But I can go out now and do a 115 with them and choose Alice. You know.
It was one Zealous and now it's two Zealous, but they still do it fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nothing.
I still see a lot of them on the map still hitting the target, so they're still getting some use.
So they work well for the Garrison cycle, but then Kixai made them useless for the Assault cycle, made them useless for the Skirmish cycle. You know, and the thing about bringing the flagship only on the second month of the raid or so, it's just stupid. They could scrap the whole Generalist category altogether going forward, never release another one, and it will not be missed. All it does, it creates confusion amongst players who are not as well informed as some are. It's just creating confusion.
I second the scrapping of the entire Generalist idea. They had a good idea. It worked well with the Zelos, with the Quake cannons, and then after that, everything they introduced a second Generalist hull, which kind of ran counter the idea. The refit times crept back up to normal times, so it doesn't matter if you were refitting; you'd still be spending nearly the same amount of time to switch all your specials and your heavy weapon out. So you're not even saving build time, but you're losing the ability to do whatever you switch them out from. It just makes no sense. They're banning it in so many different ways. The weapon jamming, can't do elite targets. It's a failed experiment. They tried,
Exactly.
and then they mangled it beyond what it was, and now it just doesn't work. And they're trying to push it out. But the thing is, if they didn't have to create new content for every 4 months or 3 months for the Generalist hulls, that's development time that could be freed up to doing so many better things. We're given a crappy UAV in the FM that isn't even fittable to the KDs, which they need to start doing weapons for that. Otherwise, what's the point of giving that its whole damage prevention switching if you're not going to give it weapons that deal the type that you need? And it'll clog up the FM less. Maybe they could put in different specials or rerun the resistor specials or whatever. It frees up development time and resources that could be used to do so many better things. Maybe they could get the ASETs tuned better, because I don't know what they're tuning the ASETs for in these siege raids, but it hasn't been for any reasonable thing below the top level. Like if I needed a fleet that they expect to do well in the ASET, I figure I could just go and do the ASET just fine. But I feel like even slightly being off the pace in the ASETs in the raid is a big detriment. I felt like I needed the flag. I felt like I needed all 4 charged, 4 ships done in the second month, and you can't really do that unless you're in lockstep.
Yeah, that's a really good point on the development time. The time that's being spent on that kind of stuff that could be best used elsewhere for bugs and glitches and whatnots and everything else. Okay, we're coming up almost to the end. Just a quick question. Has anybody hit the new Skirmish map targets?
Is that for uranium?
Yeah, for uranium.
Why?
I did.
I'd rather use my icebreakers in the dubs, which is what I'm doing right now.
I only hit the 35 on auto with hunters, and I got less than 90 seconds of damage. Before they came out, I was getting like 45 minutes of damage on the 35. That's the only one I've tested. I just autoed it just for so I could talk about it, but I haven't hit the higher targets. No.
Sounds like they fixed that. So Ren, you said you hit some?
Yeah, just like Hefe said, I hit one in a way that I did on purpose just to see how it was tuned. So I got my Fangtooth fleet. I went into a new 102, which is the highest level target, so supposedly the hardest. And I did some Liam-style driving right?
It's
So
damage free.
So in other words-
no. So I literally, I let the
Behind your back is
mortars.
my fault.
I let the mortars from the gluttonies hit my fangs, and I got in range, and I was fired at multiple times, is what I'm trying to say. And then I docked, and 4 of the 5 subs had under 5 minutes repair, so were instant on dock. And the fifth one had about 7-minute damage on it, probably because of some torpedo. I don't know. But that was a 102. So damage-wise, I think the tuning of the 102 is not bad.
And what's the payout? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
It's 44, 47K. It's the same as it was for the
47.
102 Reaver.
Oh, okay. Well, so that sounds like they've done a lot of work then. I know initially there was some...
I think Venom is doing a 102 right now, right? Is that a 102, Venom?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so
throw him up.
I got in range. I let them fire at me a little bit, you know.
But the same amount of time, though, for hitting a dub, you get 72K or 72.5K, don't you?
Yeah, it's not worth it in terms of time to drive the fangs and spend 5 minutes killing that target. Much rather get the hunters in auto, but I haven't done that yet.
But soon you could put your IDs into dubs.
Question is, how long are the dubs going to be around for? I don't know.
I don't know. For as long as
Quiet,
possible.
Ren, don't give them any ideas.
I mean,
They
they
haven't
could
actually
give
got to
us
the center of the dub yet.
they could give us sector threat red. I think that would be neat. Maybe
We want
maybe
the center of the
people
dub
that-
open first.
See, that's
Yeah.
another idea, Brian, they could have finished if they weren't so busy creating new generalist holes they don't want us to use.
Well, also they're gonna free up time by not having to have the second raid.
Yeah,
hall.
second raid hole and dual targets, and yeah, there's a lot of time to be saved.
Well, I know
Yeah.
GDL wanted to get 2 months ahead, didn't he? That was his plan.
Maybe they can actually fix the balance of PvP rather than breaking it more.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of PvP, somebody reported earlier today. Has anyone seen issues with the new missile turret not firing?
The turret, yes. I mean, often it only fires one projectile, or at least visually, you can often see projectiles missing that haven't been fired.
Right.
Really?
To be
Yes.
fair, to be
We have
fair,
that captured on video in our alliance. It's totally weird.
to be fair, if the missiles are set up right, you only really need it to fire once or twice.
What do you mean?
You got to hit.
If it hits you, you're probably going to be toast.
Oh, but
I've-
that's
I've-
not an
I've-
excuse for the turret to be only firing half of what it should.
No, exactly. Yeah, that's irrelevant.
All I'm trying to say is it's not really that big an issue.
At the moment,
I think
there'll be another hole coming
productivity-
along in bounty that will make it an issue. I'm sure. You know, it's had its fun already for a fortnight.
Well-
So
Speaking of bounty, what is the speculation on the type of hull coming out?
what cycle are we on now? Hang on, it's you know, there's only 4 possibilities. So
Ugh.
what we
Missile?
just had,
Missile?
My guess is missile. Yeah.
I'd say missile. Is it be logical? We just had we've done more. We've done it's got to be missile on it. Doesn't it?
We haven't had scatter gun for a while as well, right? Or did we?
But that's just
Um,
isn't
The
it?
sinful
There was
with
the sinful.
with the glut.
Okay. So
But
yeah.
I think that was after the twin blade. So I think on the rotation we should be on missile, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. And then after the missile, should have a scatter gun probably.
Yeah, the twin blade had a real long life, didn't it?
It was longer than the Rage.
Ooh.
You can clearly see that Venom's charge pool probably is gone because he's taking damage now.
Yeah, I wish Fangtooth would quit working. I hate that boat.
Why?
I hate the target. I hate everything about it. I hate the fact that they grind you down by making you hit 5 million targets with one boat. Needs to be a little bit of breakup.
Well, what I hate is the fact that how long it takes, like a very long time to kill those targets. They're huge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that-
why I'm just driving into them now.
The prop.
Yeah, I didn't drive that bad.
This is just worst case scenario.
Well, if you were driving like Liam, you should have been blindfolded with both hands behind your back. And
Yeah.
You will exit that target in 3 minutes, let me tell you. But that is because you will be dead.
Venom's driving
I
like
think
a
three
We should
skull.
try Fangs on auto then. See how they do.
Are you sure?
Yeah, not sure. Not sure I'm willing to take that risk.
That's gonna do better than Liam.
Let's have a go at this.
But they'll go
First
within
time.
your
Oh,
they'll go
that
within your dread field. They'll be slowed down. It's all right.
Yeah.
That would be
Oh,
funny. Have a
thanks for-
competition between Liam and a Fang fleet on auto and see which one lasts longer.
I know where I'm gonna place my bet. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that Venom. Does anybody else? We're kind of at the end here. Anybody else have anything they need to bring up real quick?
Nope.
Can I say TLDRs on FM prizes? New FM stuff?
TLDR, go Brian, 1 minute.
New cannon is very uninspired, pretty pathetic, but still will be useful because they probably have deflection on the new siege stuff, but I can't say for sure. The new special for siege, very risky. I wouldn't try it because you got to put it on, die, then repair and take it off. General stuff sucks. Everything's overpriced, especially the UAV frame. Like, guys, step it up. Come on now. Give us something we should actually want to use and not feel like we're forced to.
I just wanted to say, Brian, the new cannon, the secondary weapon, the blue shot on the new cannon, is 40% more powerful than the old one.
Yeah, I was about to very highly insult the cannon until I saw that. Oh.
Yes, it's 40%. It's big.
It's actually,
now,
yeah.
That special that takes 20% ballistic range, I would never put that on my ships.
Well, what about in a guard ship?
In a guard
What?
ship?
Why?
If you're using a conqueror, can it be is there a restriction on it?
Yeah, you can only put it on siege.
Okay.
Yeah, you can only put it on siege.
I was thinking the cannon. I'm thinking, okay, short range in the channel.
Okay, 1 minute and 2 seconds and about 23% health.
Yeah, don't auto. Bad idea.
Yeah, don't order your painters. You learned it here.
Well, as long as we don't have to put money on Liam. Okay.
Now we know.
Well, a big thank you for everybody joining tonight. Appreciate the time, and a thank you to those.
I had one quick thing.
Yep.
For people over the next 6 hours that have the 100s available and thinking, oh, I'll just hit the 55s, you're going to get 7.55 times more VXP for dying on the 100 than the 55. So
not to mention, if you kill it, you get the Defender VXP
the Defender token. Yeah, that really kicks in.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you're gonna
I just wanted to finish with a random fact. China now wants to prohibit strippers in funerals. And they set up a hotline for people to report the use of strippers in funerals.
Well,
the
that's
BBC just reported that.
Okay.
I bet there's going to be a big legal battle to define what a stripper is. That's a sentence I didn't think I'd say today. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you to everybody that joined us on chat and admins, presenters. Thanks for popping in with us, and for those folks on the panel, really appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing everybody next week on Tuesday.
Cool.
okay.
Later.
Boycott Chinese funerals.